Hello everyone, thank you very much for watching. I would like to talk about the mistakes to avoid when you invest in property. So that's particular to the beginners who think property investing is easy. It is easy only if you know how to. Number one mistake that needs to avoid is the type of properties. People jump into looking for property without having a plan, having a goal. They don't actually understand the different type of property strategies. They go straight into say, because it's cheaper to buy, they then get a studio apartment. But if you're targeting family-led, you're targeting corporate-led, a studio apartment is not necessarily the best choice. It could lead to the business not being performing, and you then end up with buying the wrong property for the type of strategy that you're looking for. So I would say before you start, you got to have a plan. With having a plan, you have to make a decision about two things. One is that, are you investing property based on cash flow? Do you invest in property because you want to replace your job income, or you want to generate income to support your lifestyle? Or would you rather invest in property for assets, building for longer term? So you can obviously having both, but it takes a bit of time to either focus on one or the other. So if you have to choose between cash flow strategy or building assets, the approach to start is different. The criteria you start is also different. The different strategy for you to learn and to implement is also different. So you need to know what actually you want. Do you more considering having the cash flow to replace your job income, or do you rather build assets, build your portfolio, and for longer term investment and return? The next thing is the strategy. The biggest mistake that the property investors make is not knowing what strategy they get started. Because of that, they don't know where should they buy the property. Do they buy them from the home, near home? Should they buy in 200-300 miles away in the north somewhere cheap? And because they haven't got the right strategy, they don't know if they buy a single family home, or they buy a HMO for someone to manage it, or they buy a holiday let, they call it like, holiday apartments, or are they actually doing flips, buy the house from auction, do it up and sell it on? There is so many different ways you can make money from property. Even I've been spoken to people like doing deal sourcing. They just pass on property deals they found and make a bit of profit from it. That's the way they make it. We do call them property trading rather than property investing. Property investing is more like you acquire property, whatever way that you're doing it, and then you either run it yourself or you get someone to manage it for you to get an income from property where you can have passive income. So these three things. First thing is that people make mistake with buying the wrong type of property because they don't actually know what strategy they go for, and they haven't got a plan, so they don't know if they're going for cash flow based strategy or assets based strategy. And until they figure out, they decided, then this point they can get started because they have a clear goal about cash flow, asset building, and then they can work on which strategy. For example, cash flow strategy, including like HMO, corporate let. You also have a holiday let. These are the cash flow strategy. Or if you want asset building strategy, you buy single let, renting out, you purchase instead of renting, lease options, and all that kind of different ways to methodology to acquire property. And then are you going to buy a small home in a block of apartment, or you're going to buy a big property in a very luxury area because you want capital appreciation? So all the different things determine how you invest, what you invest, and how much you can invest on. And in terms of money, a lot of people make a mistake thinking they got to have tons of money before they make start. And the way how we invest as a professional property investor is that we go and find a deal, we work out a plan, work out roadmap, work out how much money you need to make, work out what kind of strategy that you will get started, work out what kind of sourcing criteria, work out what kind of skill set you need to negotiate, and what kind of property deal that you should acquire. Then we go and find the money to pay for it. So even if you don't have money or have very little amount of money, you can still invest property without using your own. If you're interested in find out more about how you can invest in property successfully, whether or not using a high cash flow strategy or a portfolio building strategy, please, I welcome you to join me in my one-day training where we can share with you many different ways of how you can acquire property, generate high cash flow income, build your portfolio without using your own money. I hope you found today useful. I look